Hello and welcome to another episode of Osgoode Community Chronicles, where we explore the rich history, vibrant events, and remarkable stories that make up the Osgoode ward and surrounding communities. In each episode, we dive deep into our local heritage, drawing from the meticulous records and research of our local historians and families. These invaluable resources allow us to bring you stories from the past, ensuring that the traditions that shaped our community are shared with future generations. Whether you're a lifelong resident like me, or a newcomer, join us as we tie our fascinating history to the present-day version of our beloved region of Osgoode and surrounding communities. I'm your host, Tracy Daviero. Well, even with the snow and ice still hanging around, it's time to start thinking about gardening. We headed out to CD Sunday last weekend in Kempville, and it was really awesome. I didn't actually realize that CD Sunday was a thing in a lot of small towns, but we are really glad that we went. We came into contact with a woman from Iroquois who sells birdseed. They're called birdie blocks. If you've ever been to our house, you'll know that we, and by we I mean Tony, loves to feed the birds, but it makes an awful mess underneath the feeders. And of course, it invites other guests to the buffet as well. This company makes pressed blocks that don't have seed casings on them, and so they say in their marketing, no mess and no waste. So we bought some. And so far, so good. It's actually quite amazing. We're looking to get more soon already. And we also got to see some seed vendors like Slow Roots Farm from French Settlement Road. That's where we get some of our veggie plants for our garden. And we got some pepper seeds as well. I was growing some pepper plants in our basement, but they got infested by aphids. And so we got rid of them and we have to start again. And all gardening will take place upstairs again. We missed the Beer and Taco Festival, but some folks we know went and they had a great time. And I also think I missed congratulating Meredith Brophy on receiving the King Charles III Coronation Medal at the recent OAAS convention. This medal is given to Canadians who have distinguished themselves through outstanding contributions and service to their communities, their province, and Canada. Meredith has given over 40 years of service to her community and promoting agriculture as part of the organization she's been a part of, including the Metcalfe Agricultural Society, OAAS, and the Junior Farmers of Ontario. Congratulations, Meredith, on a well-deserved award and all the celebrations that I hope went with it. Congratulations also goes out to Osgoode cyclist Derek G. for his first overall stage race victory in his career. He won the O Gran Camino race in Spain. Congratulations, Derek. And lots of chatter now about a by-election in our ward now that George is moving on to provincial politics. No, I am not going to be running for councillor, but thank you so much to the hundreds of people that keep asking me. I appreciate you all, and if I ever do decide to run, I feel like I'm probably starting off with some strong support. But it sounds like city councillors have put councillors Brown and Kitts in place to cover our ward until a new councillor is in place. And Councillor Brown has taken over Councillor DeRuse's roles on ARAC and the Transportation Master Plan Council Sponsors Group. Sounds like a by-election is brewing, although not official yet until I think the 26th of March, the next council meeting. So let's see who's going to step up to the plate to take over for George DeRuse. And just final news, Seniors Community Services has received an incredible $17,000 grant from United Way Leads in Grenville to subsidize their Meals on Wheels program. They deliver over 1,600 nutritious meals to seniors in their community. Congratulations to Jill Woodley and team for that. In today's episode, we'll have our news and events calendar as usual. Our business segment, we're going to take a walk down around the Cabin Road area today with Manning McEvoy. Our historical segment spotlights the Casey family. Did you know that Pat's turning 80 and there's a party? On our Community Voices segment, I'll share a poem about growing older. And we'll finish up with another mental health moment. Let's get into it. Every week on the podcast, we'll share some of the local events that are taking place in the area. So many great people doing great things. Please do be sure that you get out to support them. We're going to start with hockey today. The Manotick Mariners are off to the Eastern Conference. It's a best-of-5 series against the North Dundas Rockets. Game 1 is in Chesterville on Saturday at 2 p.m., and the Mariners come home on Sunday for Game 2 at 5 p.m. at the Mike O'Neill Arena in Manotick. Get your tickets and get out and support them. They want to fill the rink. Best of luck there, guys. And the Senators are also back in the playoff race this week, thankfully, but it's still pretty tight. We have some big games coming up against the Rangers, Detroit, Boston, and the Leafs. We are going to be at the rink for both home games coming up next week, the Red Wings and the Bruins, and we are going to do our best to cheer them on to win. Monday's game, we'll be celebrating Women in Sport Night. Go Sens go. And Saturday, of course, is International Women's Day. It was originally a day to celebrate the women's rights movement. In the northeastern parts of Europe, it's actually an official holiday. Isn't there something kind of funny about that? Countries that recognize it include Russia, Afghanistan, parts of Germany, Ukraine, and a few others. In China, it is a holiday for women only. And in many other countries, it's not an official holiday, but they observe it anyway. In Canada, we treat it sort of like Mother's Day, giving flowers or maybe small gifts and basically wishing a good day. There are many Women's Day events that are hosted to honor this particular day every year. I read in Italy that they give yellow mimosas to the women. I got very excited by that because we love mimosas here, until I realized that they meant a flower. That's okay too. This year's theme internationally, according to the UN, is for all women and girls, rights, equality, empowerment. Wouldn't it have been great if the US had a female president this International Women's Day? Just saying. And here are our events coming up this week. Check out the calendar, the community calendar for the events we talk about on this podcast. You can find it on our website, osgoodecommunitychronicles.com/calendar. It's also available to click in the menu there. We've added a whole pile of stuff coming up to the calendar. So if you want to check out what's going on in the area, things that you can do, make sure that you go and check it out. Stanley Sugar Bush, excellent option this weekend. Make sure you have your ice grippies on your boots, that's all, but they have the Sugar Bush open there still. Admission is $10 per person. Seniors pay $5 and under 2 get in for free. They have lots of stuff going on. Maple syrup production, obviously the Pancake House, the Farm Museum, and the shop as well, the farm shop. So go and check it out. It's going to be a beautiful weekend to do that. As I mentioned, tomorrow is International Women's Day, and there's an invitational bonspiel at Kempville in support of Naomi's Family Resource Center. There are 2 draws, 2 games, snacks, lunch, and prizes. Not sure if they're all booked up, but the registration fee was $200 per team. Also tomorrow, March 8th, the Osgoode Cars United Church in Osgoode is hosting their monthly community breakfast from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. It is their 10th anniversary breakfast, and they're doing a shamrock theme, which is also very exciting. Scrambled eggs, pancakes, sausages, baked beans, and more. And all donations received will be donated to the local food bank. Everyone is welcome to come. Greeley Legion's monthly euchre tournament starts at 12 noon tomorrow, March 8th, at the Greeley Legion. On March 12th, the Beth Donovan Hospice is hosting their next caregiver coffee event at the Swan on the Rideau. It's from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. It is free to attend. Donation is appreciated. And it's for caregivers who want to come together, share experiences, and find support in a warm and relaxed environment. On March 13th, Metcalfe St. Andrew's United Church is hosting Irish Night. Roast beef dinner and entertainment starts at 5:30 p.m. The cost is $30 for adults. Children 6 to 12 pay $15, and kids 5 and under are free. They have prepaid tickets only, and takeout is also available. On March 14th, St. Patrick's Day dinner and dance at the Manotick Legion. Tickets are $30 per person in advance, and they include beef stew and lamb stew and the band Arc of Fire. March 17th to 23rd, the Mill Tavern says they're doing up St. Patrick's Day in style with a week's worth of activities at the pub. Starting on the 17th, they're hosting Lucky Charms and Chilling Tales, including Irish food and drink specials, folklore storytelling and trivia, Irish music, and a pot of gold for prizes. They are also rolling out a week of festivities following the 17th. On March 19th, the Manotick Legion is arranging a screening of Fallen Heroes, Their Journey Home at Landmark Canada Cinemas. It's a film by Karen Storwick and Robert Curtin, a true story as told by the soldiers who were deployed in Afghanistan. There will be a Q&A after the film also. It's free to attend, but you do need to register in advance. On March 19th, the Metcalfe Meet and Greet Group is holding their kickoff meeting, 6:30 p.m. at the Metcalfe Golf Course. The event will take place on May 10th, the actual meet and greet. The group is starting to pull together plans and make connections with business owners who want to be involved. Reserve your seat at the meeting by contacting Mark Sauve. March 19th, Men's Mugs at Oh Yeah is hosted by Ross. The third Wednesday of each month, the Men's Mugs group meets at 10 a.m. Last month, they had Constable Andrew Worth as their guest, and he shared valuable insights on community and home safety, as well as current scams targeting seniors. Join them for coffee, conversation, and community. On March 22nd, the Business Sisters are hosting a wellness and afternoon tea from 12:30 to 5:30 at the Willow House in Russell. The Business Sisters Group is a business community organization for rural area-based and small-town women-owned businesses. It's an awesome group. Their in-person events take place spanning from Vankleek Hill to Winchester to Alexandria and points in between. The Wellness and Afternoon Tea is a retreat featuring a yoga class, meditation, and afternoon tea. They'll have some speakers and prizes too. The price for the day is just $109. Tickets are available online. Doreen Ashton Wagner is the leader of this amazing group, and I get together with them whenever they are close enough to me. The first of a series of barn quilt workshops at the Osgoode Legion is taking place with Rideau River Barn Quilts Shannon Juiced. March 23rd is the first date, and you can check out the community calendar for more details on how to get involved in that. Be sure also to check out the Osgoode Youth Association, Greeley Youth Association, the Youth of Manotick Association, the Kempville Youth Association, and our legions to check out all of their regular activities. It's all in the community calendar. And that is our news and events for this week. In this week's Business Spotlight, we're taking a walk down and around Cabin Road in honor of the birthday boy, Pat Casey. Cabin Road in Osgoode, Ontario was home to the log cabin orchard, which was founded in the 1840s by Irish immigrant Clark Moses, who we met in a recent episode of the podcast. I'm not sure if the Moses opened Log Cabin Orchard, but they did build the log cabin, so I want to be clear. Log Cabin Orchard was open just until a few years ago and was a buzzing place in the summertime. The orchard was known for its Macintosh apples and family-friendly atmosphere. The orchard was located at 6121 Cabin Road on the 180-year-old property. It's about halfway between Pat and Sharon Casey's house and the corner of Blanchfield Road. It featured a historic log cabin built by Clark Moses that was used as a country store. It was known for its Macintosh apples, as I said. The orchard offered wagon rides, a petting zoo, and lots of different family activities, including apple picking. The other place you might know about on Cabin Road is Brenda Banning Fitness and Therapy. Brenda's studio is located at the corner of McGuire Road and Cabin on their picturesque 100-acre family farm. There she offers a serene environment to connect with nature while pursuing their health and wellness goals. Brenda provides a variety of services, including virtual fitness classes, thank you to COVID, personal training, fascial stretch therapy, which I have had and love, biofield tuning, sound healing, life coaching, and crystal Reiki healing. Brenda is a personal trainer and a farmer who emphasizes functional fitness, ensuring proper form and technique that can be applied to everyday activities. She integrates physical training with holistic therapies as well, supporting and building body, mind, and spirit. Brenda's fitness embodies Osgoode's harmonious balance between heritage and contemporary living. Here's an excerpt of the 1997 Historical Society newsletter submission by Manning McEvoy, titled, A Walk Back in Time. On May 5th, Mary and I decided to reenact September 1933 by walking to school. We were joined by Joan and Maynard, and we did notice some changes along the way. The swamp across the road from the Taylor farm had been cleared up by the Bannings during the 1960s, and now productive farmland. The Taylor's dairy barn is gone, destroyed by fire in 1994. No sign of Ted and Bill, Elmer's beautiful iron gray team, and no dairy herd. Some beef cattle, as Pat, the present owner, is a Department of Transport employee and part-time farmer. There's a new house on the farm we knew as Uncle Bernard's. The original farmhouse has had the clapboarding removed and has been returned to a log cabin. This cabin serves as a gift shop and checkout for the 1,500-tree pick-your-own apple orchard, established by Kevin O'Connor in 1982. The cabin in the sugar bush across the road looks much the same as it did the first day we went to school. We were asked by council to submit suggestions for a name for our road and to choose a name with historical or geographical significance. In conversation with Kevin O'Connor, we felt that the two cabins were on the road before any of us and would be here for many years after we are gone, so Kevin suggested Cabin Road to council, and it was accepted. Another addition to our road is a small house by the edge of Banning's Maples. As we got to the corner, no mailbox and no starlings. The hills have been lowered and the hollows have been raised. That going up the hill on Lorne Taylor's road is not the same as in the 1930s. Neat. That barn is also gone, destroyed by fire many years ago. A modern bungalow stands where the McKean house was. 3 different families have lived in this house in the 20 years since it was built. We do not know the present owners, but surely they could not be a more caring family than the McKeans. When we arrived at school, we just took a walk around the yard. New room added, no woodshed, no outhouses, and the paths worn in the grass from playing ball are all gone. In fact, somebody suggested playing ball, but that did not go over too well. We just rested and talked about the happy times we had at number 5. On the way home, as we got to the corner, we took a long look down what we used to call the swamp road. In the 1930s, you could not drive through the swamp road with a car. In fact, you could not walk through without getting your feet wet. At least that's what Clarence and Frank always told their parents, because it was a lot more fun to come around by the McEvoys and have a short game of ball on the way home. This worked fine until one evening when they had their shoes off walking in the ditch, getting their feet wet, when their father happened to see what they were up to. I'm not sure what the outcome of that was. You'll have to ask Clarence or Frank. This same swamp road is now built up and paved and has 12 houses on its 1-mile length. One nice memory I have of our walks home from school is that each spring at maple syrup time, we would be sure to stop at the cabin in the Maples every day for a drink of partly boiled maple syrup. Wes never forgot us and always had some at exactly the proper strength for a drink, good old pail and dipper style. The McEvoy farm has not changed names since the 1930s, but our neighbors across the road have been the Everetts, the Biscopes, Thompsons, Daggs, Murdocks, and the present owners, the Bannings. Next door, the Taylors were followed by the Mackeys and now the Caseys. Next farm, the Dewans, followed by the Caswells, Nick Hanchuk, the Commune, the O'Connors, the Mansfields, and now the Hawks. The house by the Bannings Maples was built by Ken Banning and now owned by Don Brown and family. Lauren Taylor sold to the Thompsons, and 4 different generations of the Thompson family have lived there. Present occupants are Janet Plummer, née Thompson, her husband Doug Plummer, and their 3 children. The next house was the McKean family, followed by 3 different families in the new bungalow. Even if you stay home, some changes occur in one lifetime. Manning McEvoy. And that is our business spotlight for this week. In this week's historical segment, we meet the Casey family. William Casey married Catherine Kennedy, coming from Tipperary, and they settled in the Nepean area. It is indicated that they had 8 children, but online I could only find 4. Patrick married Mary Dolan, daughter of Michael Dolan Sr. and Martha Davis. They had 3 kids. They lived in the U.S. Bernard married Sarah Jane Kitt, and they had 6 children. They also settled in the U.S. Catherine died young. Michael Casey Sr. married Anne Mary Dooley, the daughter of Thomas Dooley and Mary Coughlin. They were married in the Richmond area, and most of the Casey family seems to have settled in the Fallowfield area. There was William, Thomas, James, Mary Ann, known as Annie, William, Catherine, and Michael Jr. William married Catherine Mary Monahan. Annie married James Henry Costello. They had 1 child, Michael, and she died at age 100 in Fallowfield. Michael Jr. married Irene Lennon, and they had 10 children, and that is the rung of the family tree that we want to talk about. Desmond married Anne Kavanaugh. William Lawrence Lorne married Elaine Morty. Michael Joseph married Marlene Bloom. John married Teresa O'Rourke. Teresa is the daughter of Martin O'Rourke and Rita Smith. Teresa was one of 12 children in her family. And Patrick married Sharon Moore, daughter of Eric Moore and Royetta Thompson. And this, of course, is the Pat Casey who we're talking about this week. I'll drill down a little bit into connections in Sharon's family in a moment. Pat and Sharon's children are Sarah, Trevor, and Ryan, as you probably know. Gerald, or Jerry, married Terry Kelso. Terry is actually the sister of Derek Kelso, whose son Brad happens to be married to my cousin Sarah Mandia. And Sarah is the daughter of Mona Blanchfield and George Mandia. George's family actually owned the Mandia Tea Room in Manotick around the time of Prohibition. I know I promised you an episode about that and Al Capone, and it's still coming, I promise. But Brad's stepmom is Betty Vaillancourt, and you might know her as Betty Everson, Carl and Barbara Everson's daughter. They lived on Lion Street across the street from us when I was growing up. So lots of connections there. And Jerry was an Ottawa Fire Department platoon chief. William Francis Bill married Margaret Ann Morty. Catherine married James Dean. No, not that one. Annie Marie married Michael Davis. And Elizabeth died young. So circling back to Royetta Agnes Bonnie Thompson, that is Sharon Moore Casey's mom. Royetta is the daughter of William Thompson and Edith Mahoney. And her siblings of note in this episode are Aletha Frances Thompson, who married Albert Carroll. Aletha and Albert's daughter Joan married Oswald Downey. We haven't even ventured over to the Downey side of the tracks yet for this podcast, but I promise you it'll be coming. Gilbert William Alexander Thompson married Eleanor Budge, and these are our Thompsons from Blanchfield Road. And in fact, Gilbert's daughter Elaine married Derek Turner on my grandmother's side of the family. We highlighted Gib around Remembrance Day with our amazing interview with his son, Vince Thompson. Vincent Joseph Thompson, Vince's uncle, married Viola Barb. Vincent and Viola's daughter, Violet, married Martin Rowan. We did an episode on the Rowan family a while back as well. And Leonard William married Madeline McEvoy, daughter of Raymond McEvoy and Margaret Gillisey. As you also might recall, Margaret Gillisey McEvoy was known as Mom McEvoy. Honestly, go back and listen to that episode if you haven't already. She was also the sister of my uncle, Bill Gillisey, who was murdered by a German soldier during World War II. Also, go back and listen to that episode if you haven't already. Anyway, Aunt Madeline is one of 16 children of Raymond and Margaret's. So Sharon Casey, she's connected, man. And Ryan. Beatrice Muriel married Michael Daly. I'm pretty sure you know who they are. And that means that Mike and Betty Daly are Sharon's aunt and uncle, which I actually did not know. So you see how fun this is, you guys? I love it. I'm going to actually leave it off here today because this last part is really more about Sharon than Pat, but it is all about the Caseys today. And as I mentioned, Pat and Sharon earlier, their son Trevor married Andrea Loney. We also did an episode about the Loney family recently. So many episodes, you guys. We didn't get quite down to Andrea's dad, Pete's rung of the ladder yet, but we will in a future episode. But the bottom line is that you guys love these family connections as much as I do. It's what we talk about mostly whenever I talk about the podcast with people. So spread the word about the podcast and be sure to go back and listen to those episodes that you may have missed. And that is our historical segment for this week. In today's Community Voices segment, I wanted to share a poem that I found that honors the idea of aging. It's called The Grace of Years, and the poet is C.A. Lynch. In the fabric of time our stories blend, a dance of days where youth and wisdom mend. Each wrinkle a tale of laughter and tears, a testament to the grace of passing years. With silver threads our hair is softly crowned, in every strand a memory profound. The mirror shows a face that's lived and learned, a light bright where life's true lessons burned. Embrace the years, for they are gifts of gold, With every moment, let your heart unfold. In the autumn of life, find peace and cheer, for beauty lies within each passing year. So cherish every dawn, both bright and gray. Let joy and love guide you along the way. For age is but a journey, wise and grand, a cherished path held gently in your hand. And that is our Community Voices segment for this week. In today's mental health moment, I wanted to focus on fun. Of course, March is St. Patrick's Month, right? And to me, it's just the best holiday of the entire year. It's all about fun and community without the stress of gift giving, family obligations, or any expectations, really. And that is a good boost for our mental health, don't you think? I asked ChatGPT what the advantages were to St. Patrick's Day, as opposed to other holidays in the year, and it told me social connection, no financial strain, and a reason to celebrate. I think it left out singing. You can dress up, drink, listen to music, play games, dance, and just have some laughs. Where will you go on the 17th? That's this week's Feel Good Mental Health Moment. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Osgoode Community Chronicles. I hope you enjoyed our connections from the past and our little taste of the present. Now you know a little bit about the Cabin Road area. It's not just potholes and farm fields, and the Casey family, and we're all getting geared up for St. Patrick's Day and cheering for playoff hockey, aren't we? Keep buying Canadian, folks. We are making a difference. Be sure to scroll around in our community calendar to find all of the area events that we mention on the podcast. And remember, you can catch all of our past episodes on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can also go to osgoodecommunitychronicles.com. We have a player right on the website for you to just click play and listen away. Don't miss next week's episode, where we'll share more news and events in your area and more stories of families past and present. Thank you again for supporting our snapshot of our local community. I'm Tracy Daviero, and this has been Osgoode Community Chronicles, keeping our rural spirit alive, one story at a time. I'll see you next week.